Welcome! Another edition of It's Still Real to Me, Zaslow Show 2.0 wrestling show. Everything Zaslow Show 2.0 presented by our title sponsor, Anidjar and Levine, accident attorneys, 800-747-FREE, 800-747-3733. If you've been involved in any kind of an accident, motorcycle, boat, car accident, slip and fall, hit and run, you first call 911, then you call Anidjar and Levine. Accident attorneys, 800-747-FREE, 800-747-3733. They will get you the money you deserve. We give you the wrestling show that you deserve. My pal is Joey Levine here with us. We are doing this on a Sunday morning. I couldn't do it yesterday. I would have wanted to do it yesterday because, man, what a week. What a week. A lot going on here today. Would have done it yesterday, but I just got back from Dallas last night. I was in Texas to see Pearl Jam with my boys on Friday night. And so Joey calls me. I'm in the hotel on Friday night and we're about, now you got to understand the time difference. Okay. So Pearl Jam takes the stage at like 8:50-ish local time. And it's about
like 2 hours, right? So like a 2 hour difference.
No, it's only 1 hour. It's only 1 hour.
1 hour.
Yeah. So it's like 7:10 local time, so it's 8:10 over here on the East Coast, which means we're like right smack in the middle of the opening segment on SmackDown. But I'm about to leave the hotel room, okay? Because Pearl Jam's going on in less than 2 hours. And literally, we're about to walk out. I do have the TV still on, not on SmackDown, because I kind of forgot. Oh, yeah, 7 p.m. SmackDown starting here. And Joey sends me a text and says, "Are you watching?" And literally right when you said, "Are you watching?" I was about to write back, Rock, because then, you realize, oh, yeah, Rock was on McAfee earlier in the day. They're doing game day in Boulder, which means McAfee did his show in Boulder, and SmackDown is in Denver, at Ball Arena. So I was about to write back, Rock? ? And then you write back, The Rock. And I was like, oh, man. So I put it on in, I put it on in the hotel room like a few minutes after he walked out, obviously. And then, I ended up going on the internet because, it's all about the pop, right? Like you want the reaction because like, holy shit, they've done such a good job, WWE, right? Since Triple H took over, we should have been able to connect the dots like I just did. Okay, Boulder, Denver, Rock, McAfee. McAfee comes out. Like when McAfee came out to start the show, you were watching it. Did you say, wow, I wonder if The Rock is here too? Because my guess is no, you didn't.
No, I immediately was like, oh my God, we're going to get The Rock.
Oh, you did?
So I was sitting there watching it. And when they opened the show, I didn't realize they were in Denver on Friday night. I had no idea. But as soon as they opened the show and McAfee's music hit, I was like, oh my God, The Rock's going to be there.
It's a great coincidence to be in Boulder, Denver, and like you can make it happen.
I was like, if McAfee's here, and because they were in Boulder, The Rock is showing up tonight.
That wouldn't have occurred to me.
And I was also like, so here's another thing. Something came out earlier Friday. Either it was Cena, maybe Cena tweeted something or Cena said something in an interview where he was like, I'm going to say hi to some old friends tonight at SmackDown. Like that came out. So I saw that and no one knew what I think people were like, what does that mean? Whatever.
Right.
And then McAfee's music hits, and I was like, holy shit. Okay, we're getting The Rock. Like, The Rock is here. Mm-hmm. It's going to happen. And then Austin Theory comes out. I immediately, it sort of clicked to me only because I was also texting you in the middle of the day because I was watching the McAfee show live when The Rock was on because The Rock obviously, broke the wrestling internet, like less than 12 hours prior.
Yeah, so all right, so let's rewind. Let's rewind now. So now early in the day, McAfee show is out in Boulder. And he's got The Rock on because The Rock is the guest picker on game day the next morning, So The Rock's got time, man. Hollywood shut down. He's got time on his hands.
And that's why Cena's around, right?
I guess so. Although it seems to be like a summer thing where Cena hangs out with WWE now.
Yeah, but he doesn't do runs like this. Like Cena's around. Like
Yeah.
Cena's sort of there. Like
these guys got time.
Yeah.
So McAfee's show is on earlier in the day, and so there's a couple things that were of note, but like you said, broke the internet. Where holy shit, I can't believe The Rock actually said that they had Roman versus Rock locked in,
like a handshake hug agreement with Nick Khan and Vince is basically.
Yeah, where like they sat down to go over ideas for how they get there. And so they had it locked, sealed, and delivered essentially, and they just couldn't come up with how to get there.
Yeah, and he basically said, basically what he said was, if I'm going to come back and do this, it has to be something that people have never seen. It has to be something incredible. It can't just be another thing, like another just throwaway story.
Yeah.
And he also just said, like, this can't be, he was like, I didn't want it to be me coming back to finish a story, like finish something. I want it to be the beginning of something bigger. So I guess basically he was implying they couldn't figure out a way for him to come back and not win, I guess. Like, I don't know. It seemed like that. I mean, that's what it sounded like. I will say, like, good on him and WWE, because the biggest story last year, I mean, Cody was it was the thing. So
yeah, now they get to potentially do it the next WrestleMania. Like, it's still out there. And that was part of what was so influential in the pop that he got when he came out, because like just this whole idea of The Rock returning in some capacity has essentially been teased for like 3 years now.
Right. Well, and then also he said the Vince stuff. He said him and Vince and Nick Khan talked, and they shook hands and they hugged and whatever. And then, McAfee kept, prodding him a little bit, and he was like, well, the company was just sold. There was a big merger and Philly's coming up. So we'll see. And he basically implied, like, he said, he didn't even imply, he said, I'd like to do it. Like, he said he wants to try to do it. So, I mean, it was, I couldn't believe
he said it.
They're usually so tight-lipped about these kind of things.
Yeah, Rock doesn't care. He didn't care.
Yeah, but he set it up. If they don't do it now, look, and you saw the reaction last night.
Yep.
If he ever comes back and does this thing, it's going to be the biggest. This is the biggest match in the history of the business, I think.
It might be. It might be. I mean, when you
based on that reaction,
like when you say that, it always goes back to Hogan and Andre is the biggest match in the history of pro wrestling. But yeah, Roman and Rock, it feels like it would just be such a monster. And I mean, we know it would be, but in a way that maybe we didn't even realize, because like you sent me those stats that WWE put out where apparently the segment has been viewed.
Yeah, I don't even know if it was WWE. I think it was that guy basically went to all the social channels for WWE and tracked all of the views,
like WrestleVotes or something, one of those sites, and it was within 24 hours. So at this point, at the time we're recording that,
it's probably
we're almost 48 hours removed. But within 24 hours, it was at just under 100 million views.
Unbelievable.
Doesn't even make sense.
Crazy.
It was so cool. It was really great.
Yeah. I mean, and The Rock. I mean, I know he's been back, but he hasn't had a match since he hasn't really had a match since he became the biggest star on the planet, right? Like a real match.
Yeah, like we can't count. What was it? WrestleMania 35 against Eric Rowan. We can't count that.
Yeah, no.
So what was the match before that? Was the match? Was it before that when he had his program with Punk? Right? Wasn't that after Cena?
No, his last match was with Cena. He hasn't.
Was it? The WrestleMania stuff was after when he came back.
He talked about it on McAfee. Did I text you what he said about that match?
Yeah, that he worked hurt. That's not news. That's been out there.
Not how hurt though.
Yeah, I knew that. That was out there. That he
tore his quad and tore his pec or tore his abs in 3 places. Yeah, I've never heard that before.
Yeah, that's not news. Yeah, he got hurt. But it just shows you, man, like that's the mentality of these guys. You better, if you can get through the match, you better get through the match,
Yeah.
But Rock, he was very hurt in that match.
He said on the show that's the last match that he's had. So I again, in terms of it being the biggest match ever, you have Roman, who is becoming one of the biggest stars ever, and already has become one of the biggest stars ever.
Yep.
Probably by that time he'll be what the second longest running champion ever or something like that. And The Rock is the biggest star on the planet, and he hasn't wrestled since becoming really becoming the biggest star on the planet. He hasn't had a meaningful match. It's huge. I mean, it's set. I mean, it's got to happen at some point.
Yeah. It was awesome. He gave you the people's elbow. And look, the
McAfee's people's elbow was bad.
Yeah.
He was so high, though. Like, he was so high. Like, he even said it. Like, he said it. I'm surprised that he even did that. He basically implied it. He didn't say I'm high. He said I'm taking advantage of the local laws.
Well, and I don't think Rock was motioning for McAfee to do the people's elbow.
Oh, I think 100% was.
Oh, you do? I thought he was motioning for McAfee to throw him out the ring.
No, I think he did this. Like he motioned. I think he was motioning.
Okay.
They're boy. I mean, you could tell the way they talk to each other on the show. They're boys. So, but McAfee's version was rough. It was rough.
Yeah, of course. Well, it's not as bad as Snoop. Snoop had the all-time worst people's elbow.
Yeah. But I got to say, I will say, I mean, shout out to Theory. I got to just say it. He was great. Awesome. He was great, man. People shit on that guy. And, you know, I think probably it's more that they shit on the story than the guy, like, and the gimmick. Like, the gimmick has gotten a little stale and the story's gotten a little stale, but and he's 26 years old. And that was a great segment for him.
He's 26 years old. He's had a match with Cena. He's been in the ring at WrestleMania with Stone Cold, and he just had a segment with The Rock in his return. That's been viewed 100 million times. Yeah, it's pretty enormous. Yeah. I mean, it's Theory and McAfee. The two of them are like, you know, they're getting all of these moments with the top people in the history of the business. It's incredible. I thought Theory did excellent, and even it doesn't matter what you're here for or whatever it was that he said to him. It's great, man. Yeah, that's good shit. He did a very good job. The only downfall, and it wasn't anybody else's fault other than the fact that they're on Fox, is, you know, the edit, like the bleeping out of the asshole part. It sucked. Yeah, that was annoying. That was a bad job out of The Rock. Like, you gotta be mindful. Well, I don't know if it's his fault. Like, somebody's probably got. He shouldn't have had them chant asshole. Yeah, but somebody's got to give him like we're on Fox. Like, he's not there. I don't think anyone's telling Rock what he can and can't do out there. Like, it's just here. Go out there, do your thing. Nobody's telling Rock what he can and can't do. Well, just be careful. Like, The Rock can improvise. Like, just, you know, there's things you can't say. But the funny thing is that then, like, within the segment, he said ass and it didn't get bleeped. But asshole got bleeped. Of course. Yeah. Yeah. That's ridiculous. The whole thing's crazy. But it was still an incredible segment. The backstage, him and Cena was cool. Yeah. My brother texted me while it was going on. The only thing that they didn't do, which would have been now this would have been the true, to me, it's happening. Could you have a Rock Heyman run-in backstage? Like, where they just for all that, you know? Yeah, no, but you could have just had like they look at each other and they walk away. Like, just something, but that would have been cool. That would have been, I mean, that. So speaking of WrestleMania, though, we also got word this week, it's official, Royal Rumble is in St. Petersburg. It's at Tropicana Field, which is about 3.5 hours away from us here. I gotta feel like that's something that we gotta go to. I mean, that's gonna be a lot of fun. They did Royal Rumble at Tropicana Field, but in the Thunderdome in 2021. So 3 years ago, they did Royal Rumble there, and this is gonna be a massive show, man. Like we've set up a place where, yeah, you know what? It's conceivable that Rock wins Royal Rumble. Rock, I was going to say Royal Rumble and he could win it. Yeah, I was going to say, if the strike is still going on and he can't act, does he win the Royal Rumble? It's conceivable that Rock wins Royal Rumble. So this is and I feel like Gunther is the early favorite right now to win Royal Rumble, but now it's in doubt because Rock can definitely win Royal Rumble. Yeah, that's true. He can, but also, again, like, he doesn't need to. He doesn't need to. If The Rock wants to come back and fight his cousin and be part of the Bloodline story, The Rock just comes back and fights his cousin and he's part of the Bloodline story. So, but man, the pop for The Rock coming in at 30 would be unbelievable. I mean, look, Royal Rumble could also it could also go the direction of, whoever Roman fights at Royal Rumble is the main event. Roman defends the belt, and then at the end of the night, man, Rock comes out, and that's how Royal Rumble closes with Rock and Roman, a face to face. That could set the whole thing up right there.
Like, I mean, if you're Cody right now, are you like?
Well, so I thought about that. Where, man, did he need to do Cody dirty like that? Where he says we were supposed to be 39.
Forget about that part. I'm talking about for this next year. Everyone was assuming until The Rock said this that they're going to have a rematch.
Right.
And now Cody may not get that rematch.
Well, I mean, the rematch can come after that, man. Like, why can't the rematch be SummerSlam?
I agree. Also, Cody doesn't have to finish the story with Roman Reigns. Cody can finish the story in 2 years when Roman Reigns retires or whatever.
Yeah, he doesn't have to finish the story.
He just has to get the belt. He just has to get the belt. Well, he also just has to get the belt to finish the story. He doesn't have to beat Roman. The story is not Roman. The story is the belt.
Yeah, exactly. Right? Exactly. But my first thought was, man, did he have to do Cody dirty like that? Where it's like, okay, wow. So there never really was any intention of Cody winning that title. And Cody was never even the first option for that night. But then to me, it's like, but then I thought about it for a moment. I'm like, you know what? Cody's been fantastic. You're not the fucking Rock. Like, well, you're not the Rock.
And Cody is the business. I mean, he lives the business. Cody would be the first one to tell you, like, yeah, if The Rock was there, I'm not in the main event. I get it.
The Rock.
But he knows that. He's not Phil. He's not CM Punk. He's not like the guy who thinks should be doing all, and I know that whatever. I don't know if CM Punk really thinks that, but it seems that he's that kind of guy. Mm-hmm. Cody's the kind of guy I would imagine who's just like, yeah, it's The Rock.
Right.
He's the most famous person on the planet.
Yeah, you can't be mad you're not The Rock.
If he comes in, I'm going to take a back seat. I'll do something else, and then my time will come.
And you know what? Being second to The Rock is not a bad guy to be second to.
No, not at all. Not at all. I mean, so I didn't think it was bad that he's look, that this is WWE. I mean, this is what happens. If a famous part-timer comes back, you got to wait a little longer. It could have been Cena. It could have been Stone Cold. It could even be Brock again.
Yeah, if The Rock wants to main event WrestleMania, he main events WrestleMania. If Stone Cold 2 years ago wants to main event WrestleMania, he main events WrestleMania. Right. Like that's
Undertaker decides, you know what? I'm not done. Undertaker's main eventing. Sorry. It is what it is. There's guys, and it's not even just a WWE thing. It's a wrestling thing. Yeah. Nostalgia is everything in this bit. And, sports entertainment, half of what people love about it is the nostalgia. We still talk about the Attitude Era. We still talk about, Bret Hart in the 90s and your favorite guy, that's your favorite era.
Yeah.
So if Bret Hart came back and was going to do something, you'd be like, not wrestle, but just was in there. You'd be like, holy shit, it's Bret Hart. Right. I literally, when The Rock's music hit, sitting in my house watching, I put my hands up. I was like, yes, he's here. Yeah. So that's just part of it. You take that back seat.
So this really was a big news week. All right. So on Monday night,
crazy week. Yeah.
Crazy week. So on Monday night to close out Raw, you get Rhea Ripley, who defends her title against Raquel Rodriguez. Match was good. They gave him a lot of time. Okay. Very cool. And late in the match to help Rhea win the match, Nia Jax returns. By the way, obviously she's a big girl, but probably 30 to 40 pounds lighter. Nia Jax.
She's been sort of posting about that for a while, that she's been getting in better shape and stuff.
Yeah, like she looked great for Nia Jax. Like really, really lost a lot of weight.
Yeah.
And of course she attacks Rhea at the very end. I know Nia Jax is a super polarizing figure. All right.
It's so weird. People are weird with that shit. I mean, I get it. I mean, I don't get it, but people are weird with it.
Yeah, I essentially don't get it because, I'm glad Nia Jax is back. I know a lot of people are shitting on it, and she's one of those heels who, nobody likes, which is good. You need to have some heels like this that everyone hates their guts. I mean, I'm glad she's back. I'm never going to root for her, but I like that she's there. Those heels are few and far between these days, man, in pro wrestling. Like Christian Cage is one of those heels who no one likes. And you got to have some of those, the heels that aren't cool to root for. And she's one of them, man. So I like it that she's back.
Here's why people don't like her. And I know it seems hypocritical of me to go this route because I'm critical of wrestling a lot, but that's what we do. But when I'm critical, I think I'm critical of the stories. Like I want the story to make sense. I want it to be a fun story. I'm critical of people, like if their character is boring, like that, right? I think wrestling fans, as wrestling has evolved, think that their sport, like when I hosted I had my own basketball podcast. I worked in the NBA, I scouted. Then I worked as a producer, and then I had a basketball podcast where I was just reacting to games and stuff like that. Part of the reason why I stopped was because I had to interact with people who think they know X's and O's. They're just like on Twitter and they're fans and they watch a lot, so they think they know. And it's like you can't have conversations with those people. This is what's happening with wrestling fans now. They don't like Nia Jax because they're like, she can't work. She's not a good wrestler. She hurts people, this and that. You guys don't know shit. You don't know wrestling. You're not wrestlers. Stop. Like we want a good wrestling match and she's not going to give us a good wrestling match. Shut up. Like you don't know wrestling. You're not a wrestler. You don't know wrestling. The story is can be very fun. Like she's, like you said, there's good stuff here. There was a lot left when they let go, when she was let go. She brings a lot to the table as a character. And by the way, for all the people who hate Nia Jax, she's a bad worker, she's dangerous, this and that. You should be thanking Nia Jax. If it's not for Nia Jax, we don't have arguably the greatest female wrestling character in the history of the business. There is no The Man, Becky Lynch, without Nia Jax. It may have been an accident. It may have been because she's dangerous, but if she doesn't punch Becky Lynch in the face and Becky Lynch is bleeding all over the place, standing in the crowd, yelling like, this is my shit, we don't get that Becky Lynch ever. It just doesn't happen. It's because Nia Jax fucked up. Hey, whatever. Hey, and now she's back. My first thing when I saw she was back was maybe we'll finally get a payoff for that.
Well, yeah, see, that's my thing. We better get a payoff there because anytime her name's been brought up on this show, like I keep telling you, I can't believe we've never gotten the payoff. We've never gotten the two of them in the ring together. Like we better get that at some point. But I'll tell you what, I think Nia can beat Rhea. I think she might win the title whenever it is, next week, 2 weeks, whatever it is. I could see her winning.
Yeah. Well, don't you think, like, remember what I was saying? Like I think last week or the week before when we were talking about Judgment Day, I was like, can't you see like a world where Rhea's the one who leaves Judgment Day and becomes a monster, like good guy? And like now she's going to feud.
I mean, she felt like the good guy.
Well, she is because everyone hates Nia.
Yeah.
Like, so
I could see, that's why I could see her losing. I could see her losing the title.
Yeah. And then she's the only one in Judgment Day without gold. Like that could be interesting.
I liked her return. I think the internet's reaction to her is weird.
I think I've said this, and I'll stand by this. I think part of the problem with Nia Jax is that WWE doesn't know how to book big girls. They've had problems for a long time with booking the big monster, like strong women. For whatever reason, it just hasn't gone over that well. I don't know that that's necessarily her fault. I think she's pretty good, but like as a character, maybe she's not great in the ring, but she's a big girl.
I think she's good because she's so easy to dislike, and that makes her really good.
But I'm just saying, like as a wrestler, right? You want her. Everyone, like people talk about her work in the ring. Yeah, it's when you're that big, it's hard to be. It's hard to do a lot.
Definitely,
but she's strong and powerful, and that's the gimmick. Like she should be just beating the shit out of people. So I think it's interesting. We'll just see how WWE books it because they had trouble with it the first time around, and they still kind of have trouble with booking the big girls.
So another huge story that took place this week. Becky Lynch wins the NXT Championship.
So weird.
And it was a great match. I think Tiffany Stratton's a big star. And I mean, tell me if you disagree. It has to clearly mean Tiffany Stratton is done with NXT.
I guess. I mean, I don't know.
To be.
She just won the title, didn't she? Didn't she just win the title? Like
Okay,
2
but
months, like a
if
month
they
ago?
think that she's ready for the main roster, who gives a shit? Let's go.
Okay, yes. I mean, sure. My takeaway from it, I didn't even really think about it that way, to be honest. Like she, if she is ready, great. I mean, we need more, especially on Raw. We need more talent in that women's division because it just seems lackluster
And you know
recently.
they love having blonde girls on the center stage. All right.
And she is really good. Like she can do some shit. I mean,
really
some
good.
of those moves, some of her, she can fly. I mean, she does some really good stuff. I just don't understand what they're doing with NXT really is more my thing. It's like, so now how many, so there's like in NXT, there's what, like 5 or 6 titles and 2 of them are on the main roster now.
Well, I think, I think Becky's going to, I think she's going to hang out in NXT for a little bit.
And, yeah, no, but she's not I mean, eventually she's gonna be back on the main.
Right, but I don't think it's gonna be like Dominic going back and forth. I don't think that's what they're gonna do.
I don't know. I guess we'll see. But I just, I don't know. It's kind of weird. Like, the Dominic thing I like because
they had to find a credible way to put a title on him, and so okay, you take the NXT North American title.
Yeah, Dom, but also I don't mind Dom because Dom, you could make the case that he needs some time in NXT. Like he got shot into the main roster as a young guy. Like him being in NXT kind of makes sense. Becky Lynch being in NXT doesn't make a ton of sense.
I think they're going to get eyeballs on the other girls, by her being there. Yeah. And I also think there's part of it.
And it's the only title she never won, right? Is that the whole thing?
That's true. It was a whole come full circle kind of deal.
Yeah.
And I also think there's a little bit of, all right, we don't really have anything big for you right now. So maybe you could go to NXT and, get some shine for those girls. I think there's a little bit of that too.
From that standpoint, I don't mind it because I agree. Her recent run has been pretty forgettable.
Yeah.
So maybe this changes things for her a little bit and maybe it brings some eyeballs to NXT. It's just a weird thing. Like I understand they've been bringing main roster people down to NXT, which I actually like that. Like, Baron Corbin and
it's
Ali
their version of the Forbidden Door. It's their version of AEW bringing in NJPW and Impact. Like that, they're just going to do it all under their own umbrella.
Totally. But I thought it was just quick. Like I would, unless they're immediately shooting Tiffany Stratton to the main roster and that's why they did this.
I think they are.
But also, like, you could shoot her to the main roster with the NXT title. Like, I don't know. It's just,
that's not normally the way that, like I know they've done that over recent years, but man, like that's not normally the way it used to be done.
Yeah. But I like that they're bringing main roster people down. I like it as a way of getting other people on the roster over. Not necessarily winning a title to get them over. But I guess whoever takes the title from Becky is interesting. Is going to become a monster star.
Right. That part's interesting. Like, who's going to be the one that from NXT that beats her?
Well, I think it's got to be either Cora Jade or Roxanne Perez. I mean, those are the 2 big stars, it seems, down there. I don't know that I haven't been watching it as much as I was for a while, but it seems like, and Cora Jade's been gone for a while because she was getting some stuff done. I don't know if you've seen that.
I didn't know that.
She enhanced a little bit.
All right.
Like in a big way.
She got a little bit. She got a little bit smarter. All right.
Yeah, she got a little smarter.
All right.
So maybe it'll be her, because she is a star. I mean, she's really good. Roxanne Perez, from what I've seen, is great, but she's tiny. Like she's so small. Yep. She is so small.
Yeah, like Zelina Vega thinks that Roxanne Perez is small.
Right, yeah. So I don't know. I don't know who else is in the women's division really as like a single star down there.
They like that Lyra Valkyrie, who's like feuding with Dana Brooke right now.
I like her. I like her, and she has a thing with Rhea too, right? Like they had a thing for a little bit.
Yeah.
So I guess maybe. But I think it's got to be probably. I think it's got to be Cora Jade or Roxanne. At least the way NXT has seemed to me, the way they've positioned the women there. I don't know.
What do you finally here as far as other big stuff that happened this week for WWE, and then there's a few things for AEW, including one big juicy story. What do you make of what's going on in the final segment, I guess, with SmackDown? So Jimmy Uso and Solo, and Jimmy's trying to get back into the bloodline, and you got a whole deal going on there with Cena. Like, are we setting up Jimmy Uso versus John Cena?
No, I think it's going to be.
It's been 2 out of 3 weeks that they've had confrontations.
I see what in my notes. I put the wrong duo that I put Cena and AJ versus Waller. I meant to put Cena and AJ versus Solo and Jimmy is what it seems like they're setting up.
Okay.
And what I think they're setting up is AJ Roman down at somewhere. Right. So I think it's like,
or could they be setting up doing a team of the OC versus the Bloodline for War Games?
They could do that too. But I think ultimately at some point, because also I saw that I think Roman is going to be they have a Saudi event. I want to say,
yeah,
in the next couple months.
I think it's early November, maybe.
Yeah. So it would make sense that it would be AJ Roman in Saudi Arabia, because like Roman's not going to lose in Saudi Arabia, and you're also not going to do like a huge program for somebody in Saudi. Like it's not going to be
so you could
Cody or
Roman and AJ.
You could do Roman and AJ in Saudi Arabia, and it'll be great. It'll be a great match.
Yep.
AJ's awesome. So it seems like that's where they're headed with this. Like Cena and AJ beat Jimmy and Solo, and then Roman's got to come back and he's got to take care of business. You guys can't take care of it, so of course I got to come back and take care of it.
And lastly, here with WWE, I guess we officially get the blow off, right, with LA Knight and The Miz. He beat him 2 times in a row, so LA Knight gets the rub there from The Miz, gets a couple nice wins. Who does he move on to next? You think? What are we doing with him?
I don't know, but he called out his promo was really. I mean, I thought it was really good and it was interesting. He said, "I don't care if it's Rey Mysterio, I don't care if it's Gunther." I don't care if it's Seth Rollins. I don't even care if it's Roman Reigns.
Speaking of Rey Mysterio, by the way, that Santos heel turn is on the horizon.
Well, he's wearing a suit. He's wearing the suit again.
Oh, so. Yes. Okay. That's good. I like that. Yeah.
So that's obvious. Like that's clearly got to be. He was the only one he was the only one wearing the suit, by the way.
Yeah, that's coming.
What if, because for a long time I've been saying like you got Angel Garza and the other guy who are really good, like Latino wrestlers.
Right.
The other 2 guys, like everyone in the LWO is wearing the LWO shirt except for Santos.
Mm-hmm.
What if it's just Santos who turns on them and he goes and gets those guys and creates a new Legado?
That's possible, but then his other 2 homeboys, I mean, just disappear into oblivion.
Yeah, well, they tried to let those guys get on the mic.
Yeah, they spoke for the first time.
It was rough. And it was rough. You could see Bobby Lashley like holding back laughter almost, where he was like,
really?
What is well, you could just see it in his face. He's like, is this guy talking right now? It's like, what's happening here?
I think you could be right. You might be right about that. You might be right.
I just think it would be interesting, or just a way of doing it.
Well, yeah, and I love Angel Garza. Like, it's a shame they haven't been able to do anything with him.
Yeah,
he is. I loved him when he was solo competitor, and he would get a kiss from a girl on the way to the ring every time. He would take off the pants. It was a whole deal. A couple minutes into the match. I love Angel Garza, man.
Yeah, I mean, LA Knight. The thing with LA Knight is, I don't think it's Ray. I don't think that would make a lot of sense. It's not Roman yet. I mean, I guess it could be Roman, and he's not on Raw unless he's just going to switch back and forth.
Well, shit. I mean, it could be Santos can beat Ray, and then LA Knight goes after Santos.
Could be that. But if you're going to let LA Knight do whatever he wants, and he's the big star now, I wouldn't mind seeing him just go to Raw and challenge Gunther. I mean, that would be incredible. That would be an incredible program. That would be an awesome situation. Now, it would hurt my guy, Chad Gable, because LA Knight's not going to lose to Gunther. Like, LA Knight would be the one to beat Gunther.
Mm-hmm. So
it couldn't be Chad Gable. But you win either way. But by the way, there was one other thing that I wanted to bring up.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of people being like, what are we doing with Judgment Day, or what are we doing with Bloodline, and what's happening with Jimmy other than the Solo AJ stuff? I love that the Judgment Day is recruiting both Usos on separate shows. I love that story. Yeah. I love they're going after Jay and they're going after Jimmy. I love that. I'm interested to see where. Obviously, they're not going to join the Judgment Day.
Do you think it was on purpose with Finn telling Jimmy best thing, or maybe he told Jay best thing about Judgment Day? There are no leaders.
They said both. So Finn said that to Jay, and Dom said that to Jay, and then he said it this week. He said, Finn said it to Jimmy on SmackDown. He said, "There's no leaders, which means no Roman." And Heyman was in the background listening.
Yeah.
It's good.
I wonder if there'll be something to that where Judgment Day won't like that Finn is saying that.
Also, you saw the backstage segment, basically the same segment on Raw with Finn trying to get Jay, and he's like, Dom's a fan.
Yeah.
I'm a fan. And Jay is just kind of looking, he's
Priest
like,
a fan.
Priest a fan. And Rhea's a fan. And Jay goes, really? And he doesn't react to anyone, and he says, Rhea's a fan. He goes, oh yeah?
Yeah.
Like he makes the face.
No, it's good. That's good.
Yeah.